watching New Vision TV News with me, Mwaura. We broadcast from the New Vision newsroom. We'll take a look at the news around Uganda, around East Africa, around the world. And later in this bulletin, we'll take a look at our Daily Pile of Africa series and then a special report. We start off with the news around Uganda. Kicking off today's bulletin is a story from Mwaura district, where all roads lead to Mwaura as Buganda Kingdom prepares for the 26th coronation anniversary of Ronald Muwenda II. As part of the preparations, the police have released the tight traffic guidelines for motorists to ensure safety of revelers during the celebrations. Now, the celebrations slated for July 31st will take place at Nkumba University grounds in Entebbe, Busilo County in Wakiso district. 26 years ago, the king of Buganda Kingdom, Kabaka Ronald Mutebi, was installed as king at Budo Hill at the Kingdom's Nagalabi coronation on the 31st of July 1993. Speaking during the release of the guidelines at a Central Police Station on Monday, Kampala Metropolitan Police Traffic Commander Norman Musinga said that guidelines are to ensure order before, during and after the function. National news, the government has been asked to allocate a budget towards purchase of sunscreen lotions if it's to eliminate skin cancer among people living with albinism. The call was made by Isaac Mwaura, Kenya's Member of Parliament, living with albinism. Albinism is a genetic condition that is manifested at birth, where a person completely or partially lacks melanin, with evidence of pale or ash gray eyes, no hair and skin color. Currently, a tube of sunscreen lotion that could last a month costs between 300,000 shillings and 350,000 shillings. Yet these products are crucial since people living with albinism are susceptible to skin cancer caused by ultraviolet rays. Mwaura says, considering the costs of acquiring sunscreens, people living with albinism are forced to do without something that is very harmful to their skin. Mwaura recommends that Uganda's parliamentarians allocate a fund to cater for such, just like Kenya's government does for people living with albinism.
Kenya is the only country in the whole of Africa that has got an albinism-specific budget by government that we fought for under the albinism strategy of Kenya. Every year, the government of Kenya sets aside $1 million to provide for free sunscreen for persons with albinism through hospitals in over 190 hospitals in the country. The funds are also used to do awareness creation, to provide for skin cancer treatment, for protective clothing, and trainings of professionals such as medics, and also for purposes of other things such as lip care, lip balm and water.
Reports coming in from Bundibujo district. Heavy rains have washed off Bundibujo Port Road. They have also caused a crack that threatens to break the road into two. According to Michael Murungi Natkunda, the UNRA maintenance engineer, the road will have to be extended to 5 meters from the fault line. He, however, did not state how long this will take, as motorists will have to bear with the bad state of the road. Coming in from Buyukwe district, a police officer has been arrested for attempting to bribe a UPDF officer to have his 5 children enroll into LDU. This was during the recruitment exercise in Buvuma and Buyukwe districts at Lugazi East Primary School playground in Buyukwe district on Monday. The cop staked 500,000 shillings for each of his 5 sons to skip the drills involved. He had tricked the officers that he was attached to the Buvuma police station and that even his children hailed from the same district. As the medical checkup began after the recruits had completed a 5-kilometer run around Lugeze town, he promised to offer more money, which the officer still objected. When he insisted, the UPDF officer offered to help him once he produced the children his academic documents and their national identity cards, which were later proved as fake. He was arrested and handed over to the exercise commander, Brigadier Joseph Balikudembe, who in turn handed him to the police officers from Buvuma who were monitoring the exercise. However, the officers, including the Deputy Resident District Commissioner for Buvuma, Juma Chigongo, said they did not know him. Similar from Uganda district, 15 people have been charged with forgery of academic papers after they presented them for recruitment into local defense unit. These were among the 600 people who were turned away for lack of required qualifications in the exercise. The army can only recruit 400 people from the 6 districts of Iganga, Bugweri, Namtumba, Buyende, Luka and Bujiri. A team leader of the exercise, Brigadier Joseph Balikudembe, said 1,000 had turned up for the exercise. Many applicants turned up with no or forged P7 and senior for certificates, while some were turned away because they were above the age of 35. In Kagadi district, a 24-year-old Christine Nema, a resident of Rebigongolo landing site on the shores of Lake Albert, was yesterday killed by a crocodile. Swaib Katshabe, the Rebigongolo landing site chairperson, said Nema was attacked by a crocodile as she was washing clothes at around 5:40 p.m. on the shores of the lake. Her body was retrieved from the water at around 8 p.m. with missing parts like one arm and a leg. News coming in from Mukono district. The State Minister for Water, Ronald Chibula, has advised the youth to always give work their priority before being taken up by politics. Chibula said the youth have got many problems, including being imprisoned, injured or dying while working for politicians who just abandon them after achieving their goals. Chibula made the remarks on Saturday while launching projects for Chisacha Maria Women's Group. Chibula said the government, through several programs including Youth Livelihood Program, Uganda Women Empowerment Program, Operation Wealth Creation and others, have provided youth with money and commodities for their development projects. Chibole said he is always dismayed by the youth who abandon their work to attend political rallies. He said when they get arrested during political demonstrations, the relatives start calling them for help. Closing off the news around Uganda is a story from Soroti district, where Soroti municipality mayor Paul Mwaura has said his life is being threatened by a group of people within the Teso sub-region over political reasons. Mwaura, who subscribes to the Forum for Democratic Change political party, said 4 people want to kill him using a poisonous substance. The mayor was speaking during the first mass prayers held at St. Peter's Catholic Church, Mandela, on Sunday, where he asked the church to continue praying for him. He says on April 14th, 2016, one of the 4 people went to his office and greeted him with hands that were laced with poison, but the church managed to control the situation by giving him charcoal tablets. We move on to news around the East African region. We started from Tanzania. The arrest of an investigative journalist is the big story in Dar es Salaam today, sparking off calls for answers from authorities about the safety of journalists. On Monday, our respected freelance journalist Eric Kabendera was forcefully bundled in a car and driven away, to a horror of his family and the neighbors. The arrest was carried out by 6 plainclothes police officers who turned up at his home at 4 p.m. and conducted a search before taking him away. Initially, Kabendera's family and neighbors thought he had been kidnapped, but police responded, confirming the journalist had been arrested. The police also explained that its officers identified themselves before leading Kabendera to a waiting Alford car. It is not clear why a journalist was forcefully arrested and detained. Moving on to Kenya, the East African country has been hit by severe food shortage. Consequently, the price of maize has skyrocketed. To contain the situation from getting worse, the Strategic Food Reserve will release 2 million bags of maize to millers to help stabilize the price of unga, which has hit 130 Kenya shillings. It is hoped the maize will keep the millers running until the end of August, when food harvests start. The Strategic Food Reserve boss Noah Wekesa assured the country, saying millers will start getting maize from Uganda. There are also inflows already coming in from Tanzania, and then they will have harvests from Nyanza, Bugoma and Bomet areas coming in. There have been releases from the reserve stocks before. In May, the government released 2 million bags to millers to cushion Kenyans from high prices of unga. Closing off the news around East Africa is a story from South Sudan. At least $4.3 million is required to fund Ebola virus prevention and preparedness activities in the country until the end of September. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has said. The agency in a statement said it is working with government, other UN bodies and partners. Since January, UNICEF and its partners have reportedly engaged over 3 million people in South Sudan with Ebola prevention messages. We move on to news around the world from Sudan. A top Sudanese editor who had been detained last week in the capital, Khartoum, was freed on Monday, a senior member of the Journalists' Union that he heads had said. Sadiq al-Rizayigi's arrest on Wednesday had come at a time when the military arrested a top general, several security officers and Islamic leaders over a foiled coup attempt that the army announced earlier this month. News from the United States. Uber on Monday confirmed it is cutting 400 jobs from its marketing team of more than 1,200 workers to reduce costs and improve efficiency. Uber Chief Executive Dora Korkohashi and marketing team boss Jill Hazel-Becker announced the restructuring internally, along with an aim of making the company's brand message more consistent, according to the company. At the end of the first quarter, Uber reported having 24,494 workers worldwide, with more than 200 of them in marketing. Still in the U.S., singer Katy Perry copied the beat of her 2013 hit Dark Horse from a Christian rap song, a Los Angeles jury found on Monday. The 9-member panel ruled the similarities between Perry's song and Joyful Noise by Marcus Gray, who performs as Flem, constituted copyright infringement. Perry's defense, her song was an original composition and that she had never heard of the rap song, was not helpful. She said her collaborators had bought her samples of short instrumental passages which inspired the composition of Dark Horse.
Katy Perry, Juicy J. Let's rage.
We close the news around the world from Britain. A court ruled today that the teenager who plotted the murder of police officers in Australia will remain anonymous forever. The teenager, described as the youngest terrorist, hails from Blackburn, Lancashire. He sent encrypted messages to the Austrian jihadist to launch an attack during the 2015 Anzac Day parade. Now 18, he was sentenced to jail for life at Manchester Crown Court in October 2015 after he admitted inciting terrorism overseas. That is it for the news around the world. We now take a short break, but when we come back, we'll take a look at the news in business.